Hey now, Judy Moulton, Grateful Mindset Properties Realty Radio host, coming to you live from AM 1450 and FM 107.7, where the heavens kiss the peaks, WHKP. So hopefully you can hear in the background, I have some special guests today, and number one is Goldie, whose voice is very appealing, and she is here. You'll see her on video when you go on YouTube and look at the Grateful Mindset Properties Realty Radio show. But if you're listening, hopefully we've got our followers who listen to us week after week, and we really, really appreciate that. Please stick around. I do have three special guests. I have Robert and Emily Gunn with their daughter Goldie. So she's our super special guest. But they are from the Ecusta Market and Cafe. It is a local grocery here in Hendersonville, North Carolina. It happens to be in my neighborhood, so they are my neighbors. So I'm really excited to have them on. They're a lovely family. And so we are looking forward to hear what they have to say. But before we bring on our guests, I'm going to talk a little about real estate. And Goldie may be stepping out for a moment because she may take the radio show away from me if I'm not careful. So anyways, so please stick around. So let's talk a little bit about real estate. So on the market right now, it is colder. Although today it is quite warm, it is warming up right now. We've been in the 20s and all of a sudden we get into the 50s and 60s. So I'm very happy, love when it warms up. Things have been very slow since August in real estate, but have definitely been slow in the colder months. There's been a lot going on politically, which affects real estate, which I'll talk about in a few moments. But we only have about 10 coming soon and about 30 new listings. We have about the same new listing as we have in price decreases we have back on the market. I've got some featured highlighted properties just sold. 30 Holiday Drive in Arden, South Asheville. Beautiful townhome, all one floor, one level. In terms of primary, and then some bedrooms and views on the second floor. And then we have a coming back in February, and some others in Black Mountain as well as in Asheville. But one of my highlights here in Hendersonville, where I live and work, but I work in the whole state of North Carolina, we have a condo, a garden level unit with views right on the golf course, a full 2-bedroom, basically 2 master baths or 2 primary baths, 2 primary bedrooms, 2 primary baths, about 1,400 square feet, fireplace, very, very nice. Wrap-around porch, and completely remodeled in 2019. So please reach out for any reason or no reason. Judy Moulton, Grateful Mindset Properties, founded in 2020, and also sponsoring today's show is Grateful Mindset Properties. We are involved quite a bit in our community and try to support local art, local business, and human interest here on the show as well. So let me talk a little bit about real estate in general. So interest rates have been up. They were as high as 7.14 for the 30-year and about 6.5 for the 15 years, so they're still high over the last week or so, and there's belief they'll continue to rise, continuing to cause home buyers to pause, to pay cash, to purchase with multiple buyers, and sellers to keep their listing prices realistic. So, if you have an interest in knowing more about your property and what it's valued at, and you want to speak with a seasoned, educated real estate professional, please give me a call. We'd be happy to help you there. But in real estate news, there's a lot that's happening, because real estate, as we know, affects about 17% of the economy, relies on real estate to continue to move. And we've had a lot of slowing down, not only with the new administration and waiting to see if interest rates would lower, but just a lot that's going on. So what's the latest since the new administration took office? Well, besides the attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion, the Trump administration appears to be keeping its promise to cut federal spending. On Tuesday, the White House's Office of Management and Budget, the OMB, ordered the heads of federal agencies to temporarily pause grant funding and resources, which can have a sweeping impact on programs and services that rely on federal dollars. How does that affect housing? So anything that's housing related programs, HUD, for example, FEMA, disaster assistance or relief, all these programs, they're asking for a temporary pause or freeze. So this went into effect on January 28th. So direct assistance, the SNAP program, and some other programs. We'll see what happens with those. But a spreadsheet obtained by Politico indicates that thousands of federal agencies and programs are under scrutiny. Among them are 100 HUD programs, according to Housing Wire, focused on a range of priorities, including lead and radon remediation, individual assistance, fair housing laws, and housing support for Native Americans, just to name a few. Single room occupancy housing, HUD's Community Development Block Grant Program, all these programs, FHA, the Single Family Title I and II, mortgage insurance programs. These are important aspects of what is on the program freeze. So something just keep an eye on. Something else that is in preview right now, high home prices. We looked at the Homes Heroes program, and high home prices translated to higher seller profits. So there's been a home sale profit margin that fell. It's at 53.8% fell in 2024. It's down from 2023. New home sales, so the thing that people are most interested in is new construction and new builds. That has been the slowest in terms of inventory. So just keep an eye on that. It's just a trend that's happening right now. Some real estate trends that we are seeing is after a natural disaster, real estate investors may be able to take advantage of the distressed properties. So things that are affected by flooding and hurricanes and so on, wind and rain. Home buyers are beginning to consider the disaster discount. The concept of a disaster discount is gaining traction in the U.S. housing market. We've seen that as a trend. In the state of North Carolina, we've got buyout programs. FEMA offers buyout programs. HUD offers buyout programs, although, again, these programs right now are on a pause. So just be aware of. If people have had damage and they don't know about the FEMA programs, you can reach out to me directly. I'm happy to share with you about that. Some other interesting topics. I reached out to some of the local industry leaders before we go local and talk to our local market folks, our Ecusta Market folks. I talked to some folks, and local insurance agents said, hey, the only thing that's really come to mind in terms of buyers and sellers is that they would benefit from negotiating a new roof. Basically, anything that's 15 plus years of age or older. This was a growing trend even before the storms hit Western North Carolina and beyond. The other things we're seeing is closings are taking longer. Lending and underwriting requirements are showing full coverage for replacement costs as a new requirement, also part of the FEMA program in terms of what we've seen in natural disaster areas. Local inspectors, same thing. They're saying sellers and buyers, please be aware pre-inspections are a big trend right now. Surveying, same thing. A lot of land has been either eroded or moved to certain areas, so land surveying is definitely a big topic right now. Really important to get surveying done. So those are my highlights today. Those are my fun facts. Those are the things I wanted to share. Judy Moult, Grateful Mindset Properties, gratefulmindsetproperties.com. Realty Radio Show host, 107.7 FM, AM 1450, YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram. You can find us on all these places, as well as gratefulmindsetproperties.com. So I'd like to bring on Robert Gunn from the Ecusta Market. As I mentioned earlier, he and his wife and Goldie, although Goldie and Emily have stepped out, Robert is still here to talk and share with us all the wonderful things going on at the Ecusta Market and Cafe. So Robert, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully Emily and Goldie will come back. This has been a recurring theme in our starting a business of trying to juggle. We have 3 daughters actually, so she's the youngest, but we have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old as well. So.
And share their names, because I think part of the beauty of your family is how special their names are too.
Yeah, so we have our oldest is Maple, she's 5, and then we have Magnolia, who's about to be 3, and then we have Goldie, whose name is actually Marigold, but it got a little confusing with all the names. So we have a theme, but we ended up calling her Goldie. So.
I love it. I love it. So let's hear about the cafe, the market, and what made you do all that.
Oh yes, let's see. So we started the project about 3 years ago. We both worked in Asheville for years. I worked for the Chipani Restaurant Group in Asheville in management and operations with them, and Emily worked for Wicked Weed Brewing for 11 years, I believe.
Oh, wow.
So I was with Tri-County about 10 years, and yeah, at some point, I mean, we love both those companies to this day. They're really great companies and employ a lot of people.
But you've been here for how long then?
So we've been in Hendersonville
Almost 4 years.
4 years, but the Asheville metro area.
Let's see.
I grew up in Brevard.
Oh,
We
I didn't know
moved
that.
there from Florida when I was 10.
Oh,
I
okay.
think 10.
And I'm from Georgia, but I lived kind of all over the world for a minute after college, and then ended up landing in Asheville in 2013. So.
Okay, so you've been here for a while. I've seen a lot of the changes, and so what made you decide to go say, hey, we're these established businesses in Asheville, and they're like, hey, we're gonna spread out and go on our own and do this, thing that is amazing and so needed.
Yeah, I mean, it was a hard decision because we always in the back of our minds knew we kind of wanted to do our own thing, but we weren't quite sure what that was. And we did have great jobs, and we liked the companies we worked for, but
With great benefits.
but at some point we were, so I mean the spark was probably, we knew the Ecusta Trail was coming, we were really excited about that, that's part of why we even wanted to move down to Hendersonville. And we had been going to the Swamp Rabbit Trail in Greenville, which is sort of the obvious like proof of concept for everything we're doing here with the trail. And we were down there for the 100th time. We've been going there since they were just since the Swamp Rabbit Grocery and Cafe down there was just a really small, like one building thing. Now they've taken over the whole property, but.
Oh, that's amazing. So that's what your future's gonna look like.
I mean, we'll see. That'd be great. But so we were down there just, on a little day trip, and I don't know, something about it. We were like, we have to just do something like this here. We didn't have the property yet, or we had not found the buildings or anything. And Emily that day signed me up for the Mountain BizWorks. I can't remember what they call it, the Business Fundamentals course, which is helps you kind of formulate your business plan. And then I quit my job like 2 months later. Thinking we'd be open a lot sooner, but
We always knew
Everything takes
that
time.
traditional 9-to-5s weren't going to work for us long term. Being in different places, away from our family, away from each other, we knew we'd been planning on homeschooling our kids since we first conceived Maple. So this has always been something we've been working towards.
Yeah.
I guess we have to go.
So we so that conversation happened, and then we ended up finding these buildings right on the trail, just the really cool old industrial buildings that weren't. Part of it for us was like, we want to make these cool buildings something special again. When we found them, originally we were just going to have the large building, which is currently the market, and we were actually going to open a little coffee sort of stand in the corner of it. It was not going to be much at all. It was going to be all to-go coffee, basically.
Gotcha.
And then at some point, we were
Plans
like, well, there's
changed.
this other building next to it. So we ended up deciding we're going to rent both of the buildings. And then as the design worked out, we ended up connecting the buildings. We actually built a 1,000 square foot connector between the two of them. So now it's like an entry vestibule. It's one building essentially now, with a cafe on one side and the market on one side. And the cafe is not quite open yet, but will be
But
March,
it was
hopefully.
so necessary, because the market in itself is great, but a market doesn't necessarily inspire community as far as sticking around. You come in, you shop, and you leave.
Right.
You don't linger.
It's not a hangout.
It's not a hangout. The cafe inspires more community building, so the two businesses together are just so harmonious.
Well, and what's nice is there is a cafe there until you guys finish, right?
Yes.
Your build up. So then it still allows exactly what you're just saying to happen,
Yeah.
where people can do their thing and shop and enjoy the little sort of pop-up cafe that exists.
Yeah.
Until you guys have finished your build out, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean the whole complex. So the owners of that property that they've called Lennox Station, they're three local couples. They definitely had a vision. When we first approached them about our concept, they were like, "Yes, this is exactly the concept we're kind of looking for."
Because they're very family oriented, and a lot of the patrons who come there, right, are families. Like there's Trailside Brewery, which is connected to that.
Yeah.
Exactly, and one of the beauties of that local business or local businesses right there at that, half a mile from South Main Street, is the fact that people can walk, bike, just hang out in this neighborhood, and now cafe, grocery store, brewery, kids play area.
Yeah,
and it's growing.
We ended up getting a grant from the county to do a kids play area on the far side of
You
the
didn't
cafe.
tell
So
me that.
yeah, so we're
Very generous grant to
Yeah.
make a really
Shout out to
beautiful.
the Henderson County TDA.
Yeah.
They've been so supportive.
I love Henderson County.
They've been so supportive of this. So we'll have a little play area and a lot of
That's
outdoor seating.
wonderful.
And I mean, I really think between the brewery, which has its own magic and is just a really awesome spot, and then they have that whole event space where the pop-up shop is right now, and they'll continue using that. If they're going to do weddings, they're going to have, they've got a full bar there now, and then our side with the grocery and the cafe, like tons of outdoor seating everywhere. We'll have the trail. It's really going to be a hub for Hendersonville, I think.
And there's also all that land, so the play area, okay, so I know there's all the land, is there gonna be a build out or do anything with the rest of it? Do they wanna?
Yeah, it's two separate properties, they're 2 acres each, so the one's developed obviously already, and then the field, we call it, is another 2 acres. They don't have any plans right now to do anything. I mean, it's kind of, I think in the back of their heads, like, sure, we'll probably develop this in some capacity at some point, but right now it's just green space, which is kind of nice.
Which is nice. Because I know they talked about at some point getting larger bands and things like that and making it more, because parking's not an issue.
Yeah, right.
You know, and that's hard to find that close to downtown, you know?
Yeah, it's really nice. I think right now we have almost 100 parking spots plus the overflow in the fields and then the neighborhood. I mean, sometimes Trailside gets so busy, there's 200 people, parked there. So, so it's a really nice spot. And the official trailhead, I guess, of on Henderson County side is just past us, kind of into downtown. But there's parking there, but it's not. They don't have all the amenities and stuff. So I think I think Lennox Station will be sort of the obvious on-off point for a lot of trail goers.
I mean, I look at it. That's really the beginning of the trail, because when you look at, again, whether you look at it at the beginning or the end, if you go look like towards South Main, like we're talking about here in Hendersonville, there's not really a lot of walking area, places to really stop. There's another brewery there, but again, doesn't really lend itself as much as Lennox Station does.
Yeah.
And where your market is such and the items you carry there, I mean, talk about that. That's not something you can find. It's not a convenience store,
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
I think a lot of people, we've found that we've only been open 7 weeks now, I think, and so a lot of people coming in are still coming in for the first time, and everyone who walks in sort of has the same reaction, like it's bigger than they expected for one, and they're like, oh, this is a grocery store. Like they just don't really expect it to be. They thought, well, we thought we were only going to have 500 items or so. I remember when we first, I was like, we're probably 500, 600 items. We have over almost 3,000 items at this point.
And things that you would find at stores that people recognize, like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, the Co-op, you'd have to, whatever. But so similar items in terms of quality products that people have grown accustomed to, whether it be skin, food, whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely has a natural focus. I mean, that's how we, raise our family and try to eat. And but I think where we may differ from some of those other stores is our main focus, the top tier for us, is really local products. So
good.
There's a limit to that. Like it has to have clean ingredients, has to look nice on a shelf and be at an affordable price point for people to buy. But it's amazing how much stuff is being made. Just in WNC for one, but go larger in the state and in the region. Just right here, there's just thousands of people making cool stuff. So I understand now why a lot of stores don't put a focus on this, because it is a huge job to source it. It's not like you can just place an order with a distributor and you get all these amazing products. I mean, we
it's a lot of one-on-one Instagram messaging, texting, emails. Right,
because it's on a smaller scale. Yeah. You're not a box store. You're not a so that makes sense.
And a lot of the products we have, I mean, there's people who we're the first store they're selling in. So we're all kind of learning this retail game, because we come from restaurants and we're comfortable with that. But this retail side has been a new venture. We've learned so much, met just incredible people, and we keep expanding our offerings. We have a lot of local products, but we're gonna just keep adding more and more. At this point, we're still adding at least 1 or 2 new products every single day.
Wow.
Probably that'll slow down at some point as we adjust as the inventory. But so aside from local, yes, we have an organic focus. I mean, organic is great. There's problems with certification. It's like, for example, we work with amazing microgreens grower, High Bear Ridge, and she's not going to pay whatever thousands of them. It's so expensive to get that certification. You have to prove all the stuff, but she is organic, but it's like she can't put it on the label. So
Gotcha.
especially with the local stuff, there's a lot of that. So you just kind of, it's like them, you shake their hands, how the practice is done. In a lot of instances, we've gone and seen where they make it or where they grow it, and so that's really where our focus is. And then the next tier is like, well, let's at least make sure it's a good product that cares about sustainable practices and the ingredients they're putting in it. We've used it at home. We know it's a good product, even if maybe it's not local. Like there's stuff from California, and we've handpicked certain items, and we can talk about like the shelf toppers and.
Oh yeah, when you go into the market, you'll see throughout shelf talkers or cooler talkers, little 3x5, 4x6 laminated cards.
Okay.
The blue ones are North Carolina local. So if it's got a blue tag, it's a company from North Carolina. If it's hyper local, it has a little WNC stamp on it. If it's regional, they're red, and if it's not local to the area, regional, it's golden. It's a hand-picked item. There's a reason why we're sourcing it.
Okay.
And I have a
That's good
3-page front and back list of all these shelf talkers I need to make, which is good. That's showing us that we are carrying the right selection.
Yeah,
because
and we found that
there's so many that need to be highlighted.
Yeah, our customers care about that. I mean, we suspected they would, because we do. Like I would like to know where something comes from.
So it's got a photo and a little bio.
Nice. So that's what a shelf talker. So I mean, I break the two words up. Shelf talker. It's kind of talking about what is on that shelf and giving you the region, the ingredients, anything that can kind of the product information. So kind of highlighting those things.
Yeah, it's the name of the brand, where they're located, and 2 or 3 sentences about the company.
Nice. Very cool.
And we're starting to do the same thing with some of the farms we're working with, and it is getting kind of almost comical how many stories there are to tell about all the products in the store, because it's not just, we have things you'll find in a normal grocery store. We have, chips and whatever.
Toilet paper,
that are like, no one really cares where no one knows the owner of that company.
Right.
But, for most of the products, we have at least, I have a goal, still have the goal to at least have had a phone conversation with everyone whose product we carry. So it's a little bit idealistic, and I'm not quite there yet, but there's
but building really that local relationship and that local rapport.
Yeah.
Because so local business talk about why it's so important to support. I know why it's important to support a local business, but kind of talk about it, because that's a dream, it's a vision you guys created.
Yeah, I mean, the local business thing to me is it's a really hard kind of question to solve, because we are guilty as just like anyone else. Like, we've ordered stuff from Amazon, and sometimes it's just like, well, I need this thing and I'm just going to stop by Walmart or whatever it is, and nothing against any of these companies. It's just at some point we've moved away from what used to be, they didn't call them local businesses, it was just mom and pops were the businesses. And so you want to go to the hardware store, the guy who owns it and whatever. So now the option and the price or the cost savings and everything, that it's so tempting to just go to these stores and just that be the convenient place to get everything. But there's a cost to that, and the cost, and we've seen it, is that there's just not, you actually have a lot fewer options. And so a store like ours to open, some people, think it's kind of crazy. Like, it's just, how can you compete with these places? And the truth is, we're never going to compete with them. We're not going to have Walmart prices. We buy 1 case a week of something.
You can't support local,
the volume that they are doing is, they're buying thousands and thousands of these products. So
they can get discounts where that's not going to happen. So,
but if we don't support these businesses,
then
they will cease to exist.
Exactly.
So the question becomes like, what is the cost of not having these types of businesses? And it's hard to quantify, but to me, like, I'm happy to spend the extra money, because I just know. And also, it's just nice to go in a place and just, there's sort of this built-in filter where it's like, the people that own that probably picked the products. Like, we literally picked every single product on the shelf. I know exactly what's there, which was a crazy process, but.
And it's fun to talk to the customers. The staff get excited. We know the products. We know the people that we're sourcing them from. So when you shop with us, it's not just an errand.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. It's an experience, especially when we get the cafe open, it'll be that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just feel like there is a movement. I mean, it's kind of gone in waves that I've seen in the last 20 years of sort of, there's a lot of talk about supporting small businesses. It's just, it is hard to do at the end of the day. I understand when, for sure, like you could probably, spend less money if you went to Walmart or Ingles or wherever it is to get your groceries. But I just think I've seen people make that conscious decision. Like when we opened, there were people in the neighborhood who just, almost on principle, they were like, this is our store.
Right.
Like this
Right.
is here and this is our store, and they know that they're a crucial piece of that is they're coming in and spending the money. So
If I did the food shopping, it would be my store.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now that said, we can live harmoniously, right? There's a place for all of us in this community to support each other.
Sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the beauty of everything you're talking about is because it is a neighborhood, it is a local market, it is, the products are unique. But one of the beauties about Asheville in general, or this region, the Asheville metro area, is if there's a feeling of supporting locals, right? Like we don't have these huge malls, and we do have some, but it's not the same as if you're going to Charlotte and. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. When you think of like Nordstrom's and Macy's and like all these malls everywhere, like in every corner, we don't have that, right?
And it's why people from those places come here for
Exactly.
vacation.
Why do
they
people
like,
live here, or why they vacation?
Exactly. They like they like having all the little businesses, and I think I really think that we're gonna start seeing more people like. I don't know, I just feel like there's some energy around it right now of people more than ever wanting to support these things as we, like some of these bigger companies have just, they're so big, it just feels like they're just part of our life in a way that.
To get balance, I agree.
But yeah, for our grocery, I mean, it is important to note, like, we have a very unique product selection. Like I said, we do have things you can find in a normal grocery store. We also have things I don't think that are being sold anywhere else in the area at all. But it's very important to us for the grocery side, especially where we have, we've curated it to where you can pick and choose where you're going to spend the extra money. We have a local option. We have a really boutique option from somewhere that we love, and then we always try to have. I mean, you can go in our store right now and buy a $1.99 can of organic black beans. It's like it's not. You don't always have to buy the crazy local $10 box of pasta. We have regular pasta as well. So that was really important for us for people
have
to
all
be able
different
to
price points
pick and
to be able to
choose
feel.
where they want to spend that money.
That's a great point. What are some of the highlights of or like highlight items or things like you really like or feature or love? Because we have a couple or like a minute left. So yep.
You're gonna call out.
So what do you want to call out in that
So
time?
So many.
Well, we just got something I'm really excited about, which is the pistachio pesto from the homemade pasta noodles, the pasta lady over on Maple Street. So
Oh,
Diving into
nice.
that at 10 p.m.
Ooh, I love
yeah,
that.
I've been mixing it with my eggs, which is really good.
See, now you're talking my language.
Big spoon.
We got Big Spoon roasters. They do peanut butters and almond butters, and they are a very inspiring company. They just kind of made a big announcement about breaking up with their big distributors. Even Whole Foods, they're not going to be there anymore. So they're they're just doing direct small businesses.
Good. So they're supporting small businesses. That's fabulous.
Goldie lost her steam.
So before we end, how people can, address, reach you, website, anything you call it
Yeah,
so people can look you
so
up.
we are just off of South Wooded Street. Our address is actually 877 Lennox Park Drive, but you kind of access it from South Wooded Street. We're right behind Trailside Brewing, just outside downtown Hendersonville. And yeah, we've got the market open. We're going strong. We'll have our cafe portion open in March.
So your hours are?
Hours right now are 8 to 8 Monday through Saturday, and then 10 to 6 on Sunday. So we're gonna be open 7 days a week.
And people can find you on Facebook.
We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. I think it's either Ecusta Market or Ecusta Market and Cafe on all those things.
Perfect.
And we have a website, ecustamarketandcafe.com. So yeah, you can find us. There's a lot of information. We're active on the socials and try to tell the story as best we can. And yeah, we would love to have you come down and check us out.
Well, thank you, Robert Gunn, Emily Gunn, Goldie Gunn from Ecusta Market and Cafe, a featured local grocery market and cafe here in Hendersonville, North Carolina. Thank you for being on the show today. Grateful Mindset Properties Realty Radio Show host, Judy Moulton, 828-290-0940, gratefulmindsetproperties.com, coming to you live, 107.7 FM, AM 1450. Just check us out 9 a.m. to 9:30 on Saturdays or in repeat on any of the websites that we're available on. Thank you.